tasked with starting off. Basically, the first item on the agenda is to elect a chair. So can we have your nominations for chair, please?
I nominate Sam Kilbride. Sorry, Sam Kilby.
Kilby.
Yeah, Kilby Shores. I'll get the name right. There we go.
Are we all agreed?
Yes.
Yep. Everyone happy? Over to you, Samby, because now you will, the next item will be the election of a deputy chair.
Okay, thank you. So I will nominate Councillor Sally Bidsworth as the deputy chair.
Thank you. All agreed?
Agreed.
I would prefer not to be deputy chair.
Agreed.
I would prefer not to be deputy chair at this moment in time.
So you're rejecting the nomination?
Yes,
Are there
please.
any further nominations for deputy?
In that case, I would nominate Councillor Nilesh Parekh.
Okay. Is that all agreed?
Yes, agreed.
Agreed. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Then over to you, Chair, for item number 3.
Laurie, sorry, Mayor, just a point of order. So we
Right.
have now elected a chairman. You do need to make a declaration of acceptance of office.
Oh, of course. My apologies. Yes, you're quite right, Leslie.
No, that's fine. Do you, by any chance, Councillor Kilbyshaw, have the form in front of you?
Yeah, I opened all the documents for the meeting tonight. So would you like me to read it out?
If you could, that would be great. Thank you.
So I, Samuel Kilbyshaw, having been elected to the office of Chairman of Kingsthorpe Parish Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Perfect. Thank you. Because the form isn't signed at the meeting, could we have a resolution to accept that signed form at a later date, please, as well?
Is
Yes,
that all agreed?
agreed.
Great, thank you. That's been so agreed. Okay, Leslie?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, I'd just like to welcome Rachel Hetherington and Mr. Brady, Sean Brady, to the meeting. And we'll do the best we can. And so we'll move on to item 3 of the agenda, which was any apologies, I believe. I've got the agenda right in front of me.
I haven't received any apologies. I don't know about you, Leslie.
No, I haven't received any.
No. No apologies, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to then item 4, confirming the appointment of the interim parish clerk and responsible financial officer with immediate effect. I propose we confirm the appointment of Kate Houlihan as the parish clerk.
Is it agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item 5, are there any declarations of interest?
No, would appear not.
Other than things that I've declared at the Borough Council, that I'm on the Manors Trust and the Lord's Trust and other things like that in the area. Yes.
That's you're covered, Sally.
Okay.
Okay, I think that would apply to all of us, wouldn't it?
I have a business in the area as well, in Sunnyside.
Yeah.
Okay. So noted.
Okay, thank you. So moving then on to item 6, which is to adopt subject to review at the annual council meeting, which I believe will take place after the elections in May.
Correct.
The draft standing orders, draft financial regulations, and code of conduct and other key documents to be set out on the council's website. And I believe we've all been sent copies of those documents. I've reviewed them myself. Do we all agree to accept those?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Thank you.
So that passes then. So then item 7 is to consider the draft contingency budget recommended by the cross-party working group. Again, we've all been sent a copy of that.
Yes. If by way of introduction, and I'm sure Leslie may want to say a few words about this. This is, as it says, a contingency budget. So it's a startup budget for the council. Eventually, one would hope that you would, once you're set up and going, you'll want to consider all sorts of heads of expenditure and things you want to spend and initiatives you want to adopt. But this is a contingency, a startup budget for you for your first year of operation. Over to you, Leslie, if there's anything you wanted to add to that.
Yes, really only to say that a lot of thought has gone into this. It has been debated at the cross-party working group. The budget is prepared at quite a high level, which will allow the elected councillors to decide if they want to work on any projects in the first year, have any, say, grant streams, etc. So we did not want to prepare a budget with the input of the officers at Northampton Borough Council to be really prescriptive, which would effectively make the councillors feel as though their hands were tied in the first year. So this is really to set you going, to give you some chances to really make a difference to your local area in year one, and then to build on that moving forward.
And can I just add to that, this actual budget, along with the budget for Farcott and Delaprey and the Town Council, will be considered by full council this coming Monday. And a report has gone to full council to that effect. That's just background information.
Chair.
Yep, Councillor Beardsworth.
Thank you. I think we dropped the councillor. We're going to try and make this, when we do set it up, is to make it non-political and hopefully make it so that other people will join us that have got a keen interest in the area. And I'm hoping if people are watching in YouTube tonight, they will put their names forward, because we need 15 councillors to be on there from across the piece, across the whole area, to make sure they get right representation for their area. The other thing is, I would like to know how much it will, for the public to know, how much it's going to cost a Band D for the parish council for the first year. I think people ought to know that, even though it's not been actually finalised now. And also, we have a large increase that's going to come into being with West Northants Council, which is going to be a 2% increase plus the 2.9% increase for adult care and health. And then you've got the police commissioner. So we're talking about 7% on a Band D bill. So I want to let the people know what we will be asking of them as a Band D. So I wonder if Leslie could tell the people what that would be.
If the existing budget that you have before you is accepted without any amendments, the Band D would work out at £32.11, which, if I just get a calculator,
I think it's about 69p a week, isn't it?
Thank you, Sally. Yeah, so it's usually quite good to think of it in those terms. Now, obviously, if you have any council tax rebates, you will get those on that Band D, so you may not pay the £32.11. If you live in a Band A property, you will pay significantly less. So that is just a Band D figure, and that's just something to bear in mind.
I just want people to be aware.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm assuming at the moment there are no services being provided by the parish, and that will be determined at a later point. And the budget is here to give us the ability to decide what we want to take on as a parish council, rather than having anything at the moment. And if there was just the budget covering the costs for personnel, we wouldn't be able to take out anything in the first year, and we would have to wait until January next year before we made any proposals to change the tax or the precept.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. Yes. So you're having a parish council does cost money, because you do have, your staff costs. So you need to make sure the budget is sufficient so you can actually do something which is really good for the community, because if they're paying a tax anyway, it needs to be a worthwhile tax. And the money raised in the local area will be spent in the local area. This is money for Kingsthorpe Parish Council residents.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe at the briefing that we all attended, that we were told that national average for parish council precepts is £75. So this is less than half of that at the moment.
Correct.
And
yes.
It would be determined whether that be increased by an incoming parish council.
It would, yes.
Is everyone happy with the proposals as they're presented?
Yeah.
Draft. Yep. No. Okay. In that case, we've accepted the proposal. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on to item number 8, which is noting the purchase of a website. And we've already received information about that. Would you just like to tell us a bit about the website for the public?
Yeah, so the website we're recommending is a website which is specifically produced for town and parish councils. So it has all the legislative areas that you would expect to find for a town or a parish council. It's going to be critical for you as a new parish council to encourage candidacy. As Sally said, you need 15 members of the public to step forward and become councillors. So you need to get the message out as far and wide as possible. And having a dedicated website is a necessity in one respect because you have certain statutory requirements, as in publishing your agendas and your minutes on the website and other documents, but also just to get the message out of what the parish council wants to do. So you will need a website, and we propose to have one sooner than later so you can get everything geared up ready for the elections in May.
Okay, thank you. And the cost of that has already been included in the budget?
It has, yes.
Which is approved. Okay, brilliant, thank you. So does everyone accept that?
Yes, agreed.
Okay, brilliant.
Thank
you. So item number 9 is to agree the date for the next meeting of the council. And that would be in February, won't it?
Actually, the meeting will need to be in January to agree the precept. So there are, the budget is also going to the Borough Council, as Laurie mentioned. If there are any changes that may affect what you decide to take forward as a precept. So we've suggested either Tuesday the 26th or Thursday the 28th of January for another meeting, so you can actually agree the precept and put in your precept demand to the Borough Council for your parish council.
Okay, is everyone
26th or 28th?
Correct, yes.
I'd be happy with either date myself.
Yes, no problems here.
Fine on either day.
Okay, so shall we say the 26th then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then we'll have following meetings in February and March, and the meeting after that will be the annual meeting of the council after the elections.
It would, yes.
And those meetings will also be at 7 o'clock.
They will.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Chair?
Yep, go right ahead, Sally.
I wanted to know, we'll have a website set up, but can people contact their local councillor as well if they're interested in becoming a parish councillor? Because I think that's important, that we encourage enough people from all areas
Good idea.
to come forward. We don't want a block of people just from one area. We want it across the piece, if we can.
I certainly have no problems with that myself.
Yeah, good.
Councillor Aziz, you raised your hand and you're muted.
Yes, hello.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have difficulties to attend a 7 o'clock meeting. So is there any way we can put it a bit early, timing wise?
Well, I think 7 o'clock suits everyone because we all have other things. We can certainly very quickly determine if another time would be suitable for everybody, but I think the best thing to do is to set a time of 7 and we can work around that.
Okay.
So that's that item then. And then there's any items for information. So as I've gone through the draft notes for how we do these meetings, so I'd just like to say, if there's anything you'd like brought up at the next meeting, if you've got anything you want to propose or anything that we consider, just let us know, because we can only discuss things which are on the agenda. And if you want to make any changes to any of the items, we can discuss that. Although personally, I would say that we would leave that to the incoming council, because we don't technically have an electoral mandate at the moment. So I would prefer not to make any sweeping changes to the constitution until it's reviewed at full council.
Seems sensible.
Okay, so with that, I believe that concludes the meeting.
I think Danny raised his hand. Did Danny Moody raise his hand to speak?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't see that. Sorry, Mr. Moody.
That's quite all right. Yeah, it was just to say, Chairman, and we were talking about it just before the meeting started about the elections which are scheduled to take place on the 6th of May 2021. And the latest news is that it looks like the elections will go ahead on that day. There was a ministerial statement in the House of Commons this afternoon, which said that the date in law is the 6th of May 2021, and nothing has changed that at this point in time. That other countries, and indeed even in the United Kingdom, elections have been held during the coronavirus pandemic successfully, but that none of us know really what's happening next week, let alone in 5 months' time. So the date is the 6th of May as we speak, but who knows what might happen in the future that might cause that to be changed. But the government said it would be a very high bar to change that date. So I think that gives an indication of where the government is. The other issue, Chairman, is we talked about the date for future meetings in January, February, March, April, and then the annual meeting in May. Of course, there's some legal uncertainty around that at the moment as well, because the regulations that are allowing us to hold this meeting tonight virtually on Zoom have a sunset clause in them of the 7th of May. And so the government will have to take action to extend that either for a further period or to make it permanent. And in the regulations that came out in April last year, they suspended the requirement to have an annual meeting. So at the moment, I think all we can do is to plan for elections on the 6th of May 2021 and an annual meeting of Kingsthorpe Parish Council in May 2021, but recognise the situation and that all of these things are subject to change given what's happening nationally. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you for that contribution. And yes, I appreciate the situation. And I do hope the elections do go ahead as planned.
As long as they're safe.
Yes, obviously. If they're not safe, then obviously things will change. Either I suspect the date might be postponed, hopefully for not too long.
And another option, Mr. Chairman, is to have everyone have a postal vote. But I can imagine the organisation of that would be quite something.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Danny is absolutely right. It's who knows what's going to happen. But you can only work to the 6th of May.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for attending, everybody. If there's nothing else,